So we've just been talking about how Aaron Rodgers' injury has affected the NFC North, and the NFC in general, and the NFL in general. The one question I'm going to have to ask you, James, is who now that it's not the Packers, is the best team in the NFC?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I was looking at all the division leaders. You're looking at the Vikings at the top team in the NFC North now. I'd imagine they can win that division. They've got a very good defence. They've been stepping up to the plate. They did when Hundley came in at QB. I think they got 3 interceptions in the end. Harrison Smith is having a stellar season. One of my favourite words there, but absolutely brilliant season from him. Xavier Rhodes, again, a guy we've pointed out is playing lights out. As for the rest of the divisions, you've got the NFC East. I think the Eagles are riding on Carson Wentz's great form early on. They've got Liger Bont, who's running well, a defence that performs well. I think very positive for them. Cowboys and Redskins kind of making up the pack, but one of them might emerge in the coming months. You'd imagine the Cowboys can get back to good form. NFC South, Panthers are leading that division. It's an open division, everyone's beating everyone. Cam Newton showing some good form over the last few weeks. Okay, he didn't win the game against the Eagles, but that perhaps shows the strength of the Eagles so far. NFC West, personally I don't see any of them teams really challenging for the NFC crown. But you'd imagine the Seahawks can get back to form, and can the Rams keep their decent start to the season?
Yeah, there's a team that you mentioned there just at the end that I want to talk about. I'm not suggesting for a moment that the Rams are the best team in the NFC, but I certainly think they're one of the most exciting teams. The Rams going into to play Jacksonville, coming out with a win. That was a game I was expecting the Jags to win. Very similar sides, I think. Two sides with top-class defences, young QBs, and they've both got that star running back now. Now Todd Gurley's back to his full form. The Rams, for me, are going to be a surprise. If they can scrape into the playoffs, I certainly think they can contend. Whether or not they get there, I think, is a big if. Another team that I actually have no faith in this season is actually the Dallas Cowboys. I think they've been quite poor this season for the Cowboys standards, and I think that division is very tight. I think the Redskins and Eagles look a little bit stronger than them, so I think it'd be certainly interesting to see how far they go.
Certainly, and you were saying the Rams scraping into the playoffs. I don't feel the Rams will be scraping into the playoffs. I think they can win that division, the NFC West. I've got to see a lot more from the Seahawks. I've got to see a lot more from their running game. Got to see the defence stepping up. I don't think they've made enough plays as they usually do. It's not like you're not talking about the Seahawks. Defence week in, week out. Russell Wilson, I mean, I haven't seen him too many times, but he's looked slow in a few games. You're not connecting all the time with his receivers. I mean, yeah, I see the Rams can win that.
The thing I think about the Seahawks this season is that we're not talking about the Seahawks. And in previous seasons, you hear about the Seahawks a lot. You hear, look at this great player that Doug Baldwin's pulled off. Look at this salvaging job that Russell Wilson's done when the snap's gone over his head and he's made a ridiculous play. Look at this catch from Jimmy Graham. This season, it's just very much the Seahawks are a bang average team in a bang average division, which I think, depending on who they play, if they go to the playoffs and they get the Lions in the first round again, they're probably going to go through that. Lions are a team I'd like to talk about a little bit, but I just don't really think that they're, like you said in the previous video, I don't think they've got the luck. I don't think that Matt Stafford has the control over games that he had last season. I think last season they had a better side, a better opportunity. NFC South teams, obviously we can't really discount the Falcons being the Super Bowl runners-up last season. A team which has impressed me, the Saints. Their defence is improving week in, week out. Panthers are there or thereabouts, always will be, I think, in that division. Strangely enough, I'm going to say, and it seems a similar story, weakest team in that division at the minute for me is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think about the Saints maybe getting to the Super Bowl? That's something I would never have expected to say at the start of the season.
Well, do you know what? The Saints' defence last weekend absolutely ran all over Matt Stafford. It was really surprising, one of the surprises of the weekend, I have to say. Kamara, who's emerged as running back, he looks like a very good prospect. I mean, they got rid of Peterson, but he's in delivery. He's come straight up into the lineup and performed admirably, and gives him a good tandem with Mark Ingram. Yeah, and Drew Brees performing as ever well all the time, and they're just an unknown quantity at times, aren't they, the Saints? You never know what you're going to get with them, and they'll spring a surprise on quite a few sides. They've beaten some top sides already this season.
The one thing that I like about the Saints this season is the fact that we said earlier when we did our Saints preview video, Drew Brees is going to keep you in games because Drew Brees is going to throw TDs. He's got some decent receivers around him. You're looking at the running backs, not the best running backs, but Mark Ingram's going to get touchdowns. Alvin Kamara comes in, looks like a solid young guy. Very good year for young running backs this year, I feel, in the league. Kamara's name can be added to that list. But now they've got a defence, they're stopping teams scoring. Drew Brees doesn't have to go out there and put 45 points up.
Well, he put 52 up. But
he can do, and that's what Drew Brees can do. That's why I think this team, you can't really count them out now, this defence is doing well. Yes, they did concede quite a lot of points to the Lions, but in garbage time. Not really, there were 3-4 TDs ahead, I think 3 TDs ahead. The Lions tried to stage a comeback. A lot of teams have
conceded a lot of points to the Lions already. Their games are always high scoring.
But you look at the big guy making the play in the end zone, getting the pick six, catching the ball in the end zone from Matt Stafford, one of the best fourth quarter QBs. The Saints are a team I think are going to fly under the radar, and if they can get into the playoffs, I think they're going to be quite interesting. But go on, I'm going to make you answer this question. Who is the best team in the NFC? Is it still the Packers? Is it somebody else?
Best team in the NFC? I think the Vikings are up there, simply because they've had these injuries and they're still delivering the victories. They've had an injury to the main running back, they've had an injury to the main quarterback, and they're still beating the Packers. Packers lose one player, you're saying potentially season over them. Best team, I think the Eagles look like the best team so far. We don't know about looking like the best team, but I think it's just an open NFL. It's a week to week league this season. I think there's no team that's emerging with consistency, but the Eagles look like the ones that are emerging with the most consistency.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with that, but I'm actually going to go out on a limb. I'm actually going to say that for me, the Rams are the best team in the NFL, in the NFC at the minute. Just because I like the defense, I think the defense is solid. Jared Goff looks like he's been in the league for years. Todd Gurley is on the top of his game. That running back position so key to having a solid offense, and the guy's got some weapons out wide. We're yet to see Sammy Watkins flourish in that offense really. Cooper Kupp looks like an absolute steal in the draft, and you've got guys like Robert Woods making plays as well. I just think the Rams are an exciting team. Whether they're the best, I don't know, but I think they've got all the pieces there, and if they all come together at the right time, I mean, we're even talking the Rams special team. They've got one of the best kickers and one of the best punters in the league. So I think if the pieces come together, but it's very hard to disagree with the Eagles. I'm going to say it differently for the sake of the video, but I think the Eagles are a fantastic shout, and I know that a lot of Eagles fans would be really happy with us saying that. They've been poor for quite too long now, but yeah, there we go. That's our best teams in the NFC.